Greetings, loved ones. It is disturbing to imagine that someone you know could be sexually harming a child. Without certain proof of abuse, it's so much easier to just dismiss such thoughts or to think you're overreacting. You may also be worried about the possible consequences of taking action, especially if the concern involves someone you or your family depends on for financial, emotional, or social support. Today, we're going to talk about what stops us from seeing the abuse. Help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button and the notification bell. And please share these messages with others. You could save a life. So let's talk about mistaken beliefs that block awareness. So, what stops us from seeing abuse? Again, I'm going to say it's disturbing to imagine that someone you know could be sexually harming a child. Many people wonder how they miss the signs that someone close to them was abusing a child. But when something is so difficult to think about, it's only human to find ways of denying it to ourselves. So here are some common thoughts that can block our awareness of abuse. Quote, he was the perfect father. He was involved with the children. He played with them, and when our daughter was ill, he looked after her so well. Or, quote, I thought they were just fooling around. They couldn't be abusing anyone at 14. Or, my brother would never do that to a child. He has a wife and children. Another thought, she was their mother. How could she be abusing them? Here's another one. My friend has had a long-standing relationship with a woman, so how can he be interested in boys? Or, he told me about his past right from the start. He wouldn't have done that if he hadn't changed, and I'd know if he'd done it again. Mistaken beliefs can block our awareness and reinforce denial. It's much harder to recognize that a child could be in danger when we hold mistaken beliefs about child sexual abuse. Inaccurate assumptions also make it easier for us to deny to ourselves the painful possibility that a child could be at risk. If you're concerned about the risk that a child could be in danger, here are some important facts to know and some steps you can take based on accurate information. Number one, don't assume you would know if something was wrong. Some adults, especially parents, feel sure they wouldn't recognize that something wasn't right. They find it hard to believe that a child has been abused because they never saw anything that raised their suspicions. But for abuse to occur, people who sexually abuse children must keep the abuse a secret and find ways to hide it. Knowing what to look for is key. Learning the warning signs of child sexual abuse will help alert you to situations and behaviors that can indicate that a child is harmed or is at risk of being harmed. Number two, most children never tell anyone about their abuse. Don't assume your child will disclose that they are being abused. The pressures on children to keep silent are powerful. They might have been threatened that if they tell, they or someone they love will be harmed. They might think that they'll be blamed for the abuse or that no one will believe them. Or they might remain silent because they want to protect the non-abusive parent from becoming upset or angry. Most children never tell an adult that they are being sexually abused. Others will tell, but later take back the disclosure. And still others may disclose the abuse only years after it occurred. Number three, realize that sometimes others may doubt or dismiss your concerns. It is hard for anyone to face the possibility that someone they care about is being abused or is abusing others. When you raise your concerns with others, they may respond by denying what you have to say, telling you you're overreacting or getting angry at you for just bringing up the possibility. Keep in mind that how people respond can change with time. Some people may need time to digest what you've told them before they're ready to really consider it and take steps. Raising concerns about child sexual abuse usually requires more than one discussion. Number 4, trust yourself and your instincts. If you suspect that a child is being sexually abused, continue to trust yourself and your instincts. You may be picking up on things that others have not detected. Try to identify what you are seeing and hearing that makes you uneasy. It may be helpful to write your observations in a journal so you can refer to them when speaking to others. By learning the warning signs, you'll know what behaviors and situations to be alert to. Number 5, get help from professionals. When everyone around you is dismissing what you have to say or getting angry with you for raising the possibility of abuse, you will most likely feel alone and discouraged. In these circumstances, it's easy to doubt oneself or to think that there's nothing you can do on your own to protect a child. Get help in finding a therapist who is knowledgeable about sexual behaviors. You can also call the Stop It Now helpline at 1-888-PREVENT to speak with knowledgeable staff to better understand what the behaviors you're observing mean and if they could be indications of child sexual abuse. This number is included in the video description. If there are signs of abuse, you can also talk through options you have to get protection for the child. According to the CDC, over half of all children in the world, that's 1 billion children ages 2 to 17, experience violence every year. The question is not if you'll encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. Micah 6:8 says, He has showed you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? To do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. You are called. We are all called to be champions for justice. There is a way out. It is not your fault. Abuse is not love. You are not alone. If you are suffering violence, reach out to someone today. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help. If you know of a child or other person suffering violence, tell the authorities. In our next episode, we will talk about how to speak up and prevent child abuse. And until then, God bless you.